Hello, you. Have I ever told you about the week that everybody moved in? It was when we lived in Germany, and most of the students that we worked with came from all over the world, and they went to an international school. And part of being in an international school is going through the International Baccalaureate program, or the IB program. And what that means is at the end of their senior year, they would have 2 weeks of exams that would cover everything they'd learned for the last 2 years. It was pretty intimidating. Well, this particular year, 2 of the girls had parents who were going to be out of town that week, so they moved into the guest room so they could be fed and sent to bed and generally taken care of. And one of the other girls moved in just to be a part of it, and every night about 15 or 20 teenagers would descend upon the house, and it was utter chaos. There would be history study groups in the living room, and mathematics was downstairs, and one of the boys just spent the whole week baking cookies in the kitchen. And every night I would stay up till 2 a.m. studying something with someone, whether it was psychology or biology or the history of Hitler, Stalin, or Mao. And every morning I'd get up early and make them breakfast and send them off to school and wait until they came home to hear all about how their exams went. And it was one of the craziest, most chaotic weeks of my life, and it was one of the best weeks of my life. And I think the reason that it was one of the best weeks is not because I lost sleep or did 20 loads of dishes a day or never had a minute to myself. It was the relationships. It was the relationships I'd built with these teens that I'd known most of them since they were in 8th or 9th grade and watched them grow up and considered it a privilege to get to be with them through one of the most stressful times of their high school career. And when I look back at other teenagers that I've worked with and my kids in Albania and all of the wonderful memories that I have, all of the memories that are my favorite are less about what I've actually done or places I've actually gone and more about the people that I shared them with. You see, relationships are important to us. In fact, study after study tells us that the strength of our relationships has an influence on our own mortality rate. In fact, it has the same amount of influence as things like smoking and alcohol consumption. And it even has more of an influence on our mortality rate than things like obesity and low activity level. The strength of our relationships can decrease our stress, increase our immune system, and prolong our life. That's crazy. So what is it about relationships that makes us more resilient, that makes us live longer, that makes us deal with life better? I think it's because relationships, if someone enters into a relationship freely, because we mostly value the relationships that are built on freedom and not the ones that we can manipulate. The relationships that are built on freedom show us that someone has chosen to value us. Someone has chosen to find us important. Someone has chosen to think that we matter and has given us a place where we belong. And that's important because those values are things that really resonate with us, like we've already talked about. So how is it that relationships can influence mattering and belonging, and the absence of them can bring loneliness, and somehow all those things, all those emotional experiences translate into a very measurable thing like longer life expectancy? It's interesting how the two things work together. What are your relationships like? Do you feel like you have valuable relationships? Do you feel like the people around you enjoy you? Do they make you feel valuable, or do they make you feel like you matter? You see, needing relationship is part of being human. So what does that say about the story that's behind our stories? What does that say about who we are as people? That we need one another. Very objectively, it's not just subjectively, but very objectively, we need one another. What does that say about where we came from, or what we're doing here, or where we're going? It's an interesting thing to consider. What we do know is that we need one another. So don't take your relationships for granted. They're important. They're valuable, and they make you live longer. So I love you. I'm grateful for our relationship, and I hope you have a great week, and I'll see you soon. Love you.